part 2 to my video, things I learned in grad school and about grad school. So we have a little companion here, my cat Scotch. You might see him moving to the side during this video. Also, you may have noticed that my hair is much shorter, and there's a reason for that. I participated in a small little hair study on like the effects of how short hair affects women, and I actually got paid to get my hair cut this short. It's definitely different. I like it, but I am like looking forward to it growing out. It's also a good way to like start growing my virgin hair back out because there's random bleach streaks in it. But yeah, so without further ado, we're gonna start. But first, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and comment. So something I learned about grad school in my first year, I'm going on to my second year if anyone here hasn't watched the first video, is your lab mates are gonna make a big difference in your experience. So what do I mean by lab mates? So remember, this is more focused for thesis masters, these videos I'm making, because that's the experience that I have. But basically, in a thesis masters, you have a supervisor, and or two, maybe you have a co-supervisor and a main supervisor, and you have other students that are under the same supervisor. And so a lot of times a supervisor has his own like physical lab, or maybe shares it with another lab group and has like an office space. At least that's how it like works in my lab. So I share before COVID, we shared an office space and we would do our like work there, and the lab was connected to the office space. And yeah, so I got to know other people that were studying under the same professor, and it's important because they will help you like when you're new. They'll kind of like help you adjust to this new like graduate setting. Some of them are PhDs, some of them are masters, so you can kind of like ask the master's students like how like, you know, advice on like what classes to take. Also, if they have any like special skills, like they're good at a certain course and they've taken it in the past, they can help you with that. PhD students, although because you're a master's, it's not exactly the same thing that you're doing, but PhD students can be a great resource because they're usually very knowledgeable because they already have one graduate degree under their belts. At least in Canada, most people do a master's and a PhD. I know in the US they fast track PhDs a lot. We also have a postdoc in my lab personally, and he's also extremely knowledgeable. And also there's your professor, but your professor might be busy a lot, so it's really cool to have like all these students to help you with your like academic career. However, it's not only good for like your academic career, but they can become your friends, and it's just good like emotionally. It's good for your emotional like well-being to have like a group of like-minded people that are sort of in the same situation. So if you're struggling, they kind of get you. Also, some labs have like different lab cultures. They have like different traditions. Like some labs will go out and get a drink together once in a while. Some labs have like play sports together. Our lab in particular has, I know for the past few years, they've had a brunch right before the winter holidays. But then I just wanted to say that, however, some labs don't really have such a unity. So actually my boyfriend is in another lab, and there's the professor has so many students under her, as well as she has she has a high administrative title as well. I think she's like the associate dean or something. And so there's not such a cohesion within the lab group. And so then your experience might be very different. You might actually not really know your lab mates, or maybe know one or two, but you're not really friends. You're not really hanging out in the same office space. So in that situation, it's important to get to know students that are outside of your lab, in other labs, in your department. And our department on our campus is pretty tight, so you kind of get to know people from other labs. And even though, you know, they might have their like a separate lab culture, because they're like in the same field, it can still be very helpful to get to know them, either like on an academic basis or more so like on a personal basis. But yeah, it's just great to get to know people. It just makes your like masters can be really hard, and if you have people that have experience and knowledge and also people that care about you, it just makes the experience so much easier. Okay, so something I learned and that my professor has been talking about a lot is that it's really important to try and go to conferences. I think it's actually a requirement in my program. Don't quote me on that, but our professor really wants us to like attend conferences. So not only to like learn how to communicate science, learn how to learn how to do public speaking. I can't talk today, as you can see, but it's, and you know, network. A lot of people meet like potential employers at conferences and seminars. Unfortunately, because of COVID, the conference my lab mates and I were supposed to go to in June in Quebec City was postponed till next year. We do have an online webinar, but we still don't really know when it will be. But the other reason why it's important to go to conferences and seminars is because you get exposed to a lot of like other science topics in your field, and it just widens your mind and your perspective, and it might like inspire you with your own project, or maybe you realize like this is a field, like a subfield you'd like to go towards in your career, or maybe it's like another graduate degree you want to do in another field later on if you're someone who wants to pursue academia. So that's why conferences and seminars can be really important for your growth, your academic growth, your career growth in general. So final points, and I guess this video is going to be quite short, but I do want to keep these informational videos kind of like quick and to the point, just to make sure more people are watching them and you have like, you know, not too much knowledge to absorb at once. But something that maybe you might not know is, from my experience at least, and from looking at people around me, you will get sick of your degree, your research at one point. And that's just because when you're immersed in it, at one point, it's just like always in that topic, always looking, like searching papers or doing your experiment. It's always that one research project, research question that you're trying to answer, and you will get sick of it because, you know, as humans, we need novelty. And it might also be because at one point, and this will for sure happen, you will get stuck. Maybe your experiment isn't working the way you'd like it to. Maybe you're not finding the proper literature. Maybe you can't write that day or for several days or a week, and you have like the blank page syndrome. So, I mean, obviously different people will get sick of their project in different degrees. If you're someone who's very passionate about their project, it might not affect you as, like, that boredom might not affect you as much. Like, you might still like love your project the whole way through, but it's likely that because some tasks are just not enjoyable. I'm just thinking about, you know, running stats on your data. Like, a lot of people don't like that. I know in engineering a lot of people don't like writing. So no matter how much you love your topic, you will get kind of burnt out. And that's why it's important to go to conferences and seminars and talk to fellow students, because a lot of times that'll like reassure you to see that maybe other students are struggling too, and you can support each other. And then also going to conferences and seminars, that will like re-inspire you to get back to work. But it's also important, tying back to something I said in my first part of my video, my first video on this topic, was that self-care is very important. And that's why, in the context of, you know, getting sick of your research project, it's important to take breaks for yourself, because, you know, burnout can be real and it can be very debilitating. Not everyone will like reach the point of like an actual burnout. I'm using the term burnout kind of loosely here, but you know, we're all gonna get kind of like stuck and a bit sick of our project at one point. And that's why it's important to connect with your fellow students and go to conferences and seminars, but also to just take a step back. If one day you really can't write, if one day you're really sick and tired of your topic, just take a step back, take a nap, go on a walk, drink some water. It might take a couple days to get that flame reignited. You know, it might be a hard month, but just know that it's kind of normal to feel that way during graduate school, and especially with the kind of situation we're in right now with COVID, where routines have been disrupted, and yeah. So I hope all 3 points were kind of informational. Maybe there are things you didn't think about. They seem kind of common sense, but they're not like, I didn't realize how important it would be to have these things like that I talked about, like connecting with other grad students. And I never, like I said, I haven't been to a conference yet, but I've been, like, we had like a seminar class. For the most part, I didn't really like it that much, but it's because of the instructor of that course. But you know, I did learn some interesting things from other students about their research, and I was really looking forward to going to a conference. So I know those things, like learning about other scientific things happening, learning about other research project, really like helps and make me more passionate about science. And I hadn't realized that these things were important until COVID happened. I kind of took them for granted. So yeah, that's why it's important to reiterate them. I hope you really liked this video, and I'm definitely going to be doing more grad school videos, grad school related videos. I'm thinking about doing one on like COVID in grad school / mental health in grad school. I want to do one on like my techniques for writing a literature review and like staying motivated for writing, but I want to wait a bit for that one because I'm still testing out different techniques. Like I've been trying to work more in the morning instead of wasting my morning. So yeah, please leave this video a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you in another video.